Hi friends, welcome back to the channel Annie's Lectures. In this session, we'll understand the subject Problem Solving and Python Programming based on Anna University Regulation 2017, and the subject code is G8151. So from this unit 1, we'll discuss the topic Building Blocks of Algorithm. So let us see what is the building blocks of algorithm. The building blocks of algorithm is based on these three different techniques. It's a statement and control flow and functions. So we'll see one by one. What is the definition of a statement, control flow and function with examples. So what is the meaning of a statement? A statement is a single action in a computer, and statements might include some of the following actions. A statement can be an input data, or it is a processed data or output data. So the input data is the information given to the program is known as the input data. And what is process data? Perform an operation on a given input data is process data. Next one, output data is display the processed result in the console. So that is the output data. And what is the meaning of a state? A state is a transition of data from one process to another process under specified condition within a time is called a state. So next one, what is the meaning of a control flow? It is the process of executing the individual statements in a given order is called control flow. The control flow can be executed in three ways. It could be a sequence or selection or iteration. So let us see what is the meaning of sequence, selection and iteration one by one based on a control flow techniques. So here a sequence is all the instructions are executed one after another is called a sequential execution. So here let us see an example of addition of two numbers. So here in this algorithm, the first step we start this program execution. Second one, we'll get the value from the end user. So read the value of a comma b, that is the input data. Next one, calculate the addition of two numbers, that is a plus b, and the result is stored in this variable c. So that is processing the data. And next one, display the result, that is the value stored in this variable c, that is the output data. So here each statements are executed one after another. So that is known as a sequential execution. Then finally we'll stop this program execution. So this algorithm is described as a flowchart here. So here start this program execution and get the input value from the end user. We'll read two different values, number 1 and number 2, for this addition of these two numbers. And these two numbers are added, number 1 plus number 2, and the result is stored in this variable sum, and we'll display the result on this console, that is print sum. Then that is the end of this program execution. So here in this sequential program execution, all these instructions are executed one after another is called as a sequential program execution. So next one, selection. A selection statement causes the program control to be transferred to a specific part of the program based upon the condition. If the conditional test is true, then one part of the program will be executed, otherwise, it will execute the other part of the program. So, here in this example, write an algorithm to check whether he is eligible to vote. So, here, step 1, start the program execution. Second one, get the age of the person. Third one, check the age of the person. If the age is greater than or equal to 18, then we will print a message that is the person is eligible to vote. Or else, if this age is not equal to 18 or less than 18, then we will print the message the person is not eligible to vote. So here, out of these two statements, any one of the statement is executed. So here this information is described as a flowchart here. So here we are reading this input value from the end user and we are going to check the condition. If the condition is true, I'm going to execute one part of this program, or else if the condition is false, I'll execute the other part of this program. So here both these two actions will not be executed at a time. Any one of the action is executed based on the condition. So that is the control flow is based on the selection. So based on the condition, if the condition is true, the control is transferred to one part of the program, or else the condition is false, that will be executed other part of the program. So any one part of the program will be executed based on the condition. So that is the concept behind a selection. So next one, iteration. Iteration is also known as a repetition of this program execution. So in some programs, certain set of statements are executed again and again based upon conditional test. That is, the particular statement is executed more than one time. So this type of execution is called as looping or iteration. So we'll see an example. So here an algorithm is written here. There is sum first n integers. So here I'm going to read an input value for this variable n. So that is what is the range of this particular variable, up to which number we are going to calculate the sum of these numbers. Then sum is another variable is initialized to 0 for the calculation. Then in a for loop, I am initializing this index variable I equal to 1. So I is a variable is initialized to 1. Then it will be incremented uh, plus 1 up to this variable n. Then we will do this process for number of times. So here 1 to n. Say for example, if n equal to 10, I'm going to execute this particular line for 10 times. That is sum equal to sum plus I. Finally, the final result, that is the final sum is displayed in the console. Okay. So this concept, this particular algorithm is implemented in a Python program to sum the numbers from 1 to 10. So here I'm going to assign this variable number equal to 10. Then sum is a variable is initialized to 0. Then in a for loop for I in range 0 comma number plus 1 comma 1. So here this is the for loop where I'm making use of this range function which has three different parameters. So first one, what is the initial value of this variable I? And second one, up to which number we are going to calculate the value. So here number is 10. So here it will take up to this 9. So I'm just adding plus 1 to calculate up to 10. Then 1 is the incrementation of this variable I. I will be incremented plus 1. Now for number of times I'm going to add the sum of these values. So initially the sum was 0. and now this I is initial value is 0. So 0 plus 0 is added and it is stored in this variable sum. Next time the I value will be incremented as 1. So 0 plus 1 will be 1. Next time I will be incremented as 2. So 2 plus 1 will be 3. It goes on like that. Then finally I'm displaying the values each time. What is the value of this sum we have calculated? And this is the final statement. That is the final sum we have found out. That is sum of numbers from 1 to 10 has been displayed here, and it is the output, that is for each time what is the value we have calculated. So initially the I value was 0 and sum was 0, so the sum is 0. Second time I value is incremented as 1, so 1 plus 0 equal to 1. Next I will be incremented as 2, 2 plus 1 equal to 3. Then I value is incremented as 3. 3 is added with this existing sum value 3. So 3 plus 3 equal to 6. Next I will be 4. So 4 plus 6 will be 10. Next I will be 5. So 5 plus 10 equal to 15. It goes on like that. Then finally the I value is 10. So 10 plus 45 equal to 55. So that is the sum of the first 10 numbers, that is 55. So here in this particular program execution, this particular line sum equal to sum plus I, this statement has been executed for number of times. So that is known as iteration. So based on these looping conditions, so in these looping structures, a particular statement is executed for number of times. Still, this condition has to be satisfied. Okay. So that is the concept behind iteration. So next one, what is the meaning of a function? Function is a subprogram which consists of block of code, that is set of instructions that performs a particular task. So for complex problems, the problem is divided into smaller and simpler tasks during algorithm design. So the benefits of using functions are reduction in line of code, then code reusability, better readability, information hiding, easy to debug and test, and improved maintainability. So these are the number of benefits of using functions. So next one we'll see an example of a function implementation. So here an algorithm and flow chart for addition of two numbers using function is given here. So here an algorithm for addition of two numbers using main function. So here in this main function, we are just calling the function name. The function name is addition of two numbers. That is function add with number of parameters. So second one, this is a sub program, that's sub function. Here the function definition is written. So start the function, get the values for variable a and b, then calculate the value, add these a and b and store the value in this variable c, then display the values in the console and return the control to this main function. The entire algorithm is described as a flowchart over here. So here I have this main function. So here in this main function, I'm having only the function name. When I call the function has been defined here. This is a sub function. So here in this function definition, we have described, that is we are reading the values of two variable a and b, and we will calculate the value. That is we will add these values and store the value in this store the result in this variable c, then print the value of c, then return the control to this main function. So whenever we want to add two different numbers, we can execute the part of the program with a number of different parameters. So that is the concept behind this function definition. We'll see an example. So here example of user defined function. So here addition of two integer numbers using the function. So based on this, input is given from the end user. So it is one of the Python programming code to add two numbers using function. So here in this main function, I'm just reading the value of two different values, that is input from user for number 1 and input from user for number 2. So here that input value is converted as an integer value and stored in this variable number 1 and number 2. And here I'm calling the function, that is what is the result we have got from this programming. So here when I call the function add number of these two parameters, number 1 and number 2. So when this function is called, the control is transferred to this sub function. So here we have defined what is the execution of this code. So here def, it is a keyword to define the function, and this is the function name with the two parameters. So here the number 1 and number 2 values has been assigned to this variable a and b, and I'm going to add these two values and store the result in this variable sum and return sum. So when this function is called, the addition of two numbers has been returned to this particular place. So we are displaying the result over here. So here when this above code is executed, when the above code is compiled and executed, it produces the following results. So here I'm getting this input from this user 1, that is input the number 1, that is 34. Then second one, input the number 1, another number, that is 45. So these two values are available in this variable number 1 and number 2. And when I call the function, that is the sum is, when I call the function with the two parameters 34 and 45, so it is going to execute these functional definitions. So here 34 is assigned to the variable a and 45 is assigned to the variable b, and we are going to add these two values and store the result in this variable sum. So here the sum, the result is returned to this particular function call. So the sum is what is the result we are getting back from this function. So that is the return value is 79. So that is the programming execution of making use of functions. So here whenever I call this function with other parameters, so I'm going to add two different numbers with the different values for a number of times. So here the same set of code will be executed for number of time. So here that is the reusability of this code by making use of a function. So I hope you understand the concept of building blocks of algorithm. So that is, we have discussed what is the meaning of a statement and what is the meaning of a control flow and what is a functions. Thank you so much.